Welcome to the You Can Man podcast, episode 60. I'm Josh.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Dave.
And on this week's episode, do-it-yourself garage door repair.
All right, guys, welcome back to the You Can Man podcast, where we believe what one man can do, you can do as well, with a little help from your friends and the proper know-how. On this week's show, we're going to be talking about some garage door repairs, specifically torsion springs that break and that you need to replace, and also garage door openers. So stick around for that. But we got lots of stuff going on, and so we're going to talk about some other random things before we get into that topic. Our Facebook group has been blowing up. And actually, that's another thing to look forward to in the show, because at the end of the show, on our bonus segment, we're going to be doing some Facebook group shout outs, because some guys and gals have been making some awesome posts on there, and we wanted to recognize those folks. Hopefully, by the time you're hearing this, we will have hit 700 members on the group. So that's going to be great.
It's been an active weekend for sure. Yeah.
I think
people are cooped up. So
sorry, Josh, you were probably about to say that you think that it's because of the quarantine.
100.
Everybody's doing projects because they're just sitting around their house and like, well, I got the time now.
It's falling apart and I got time on my hands.
Yeah.
I've been living in filth and it's time to clean it up.
Exactly.
All right, stop looking at me.
All right, Dave, what you got?
Well, boys, I sold a lawnmower last week.
What? I thought you were going to give that to me.
Oh, okay. So I sold one and I'm going to give one away. Now, for the listeners that don't know, I own 3 lawnmowers.
Rich.
I am rich. No, I'm not. And I only use one of them. I just have collected them over the years, and I haven't gotten rid of the ones that I don't use.
Lawnmowers are disposable for you.
They're not disposable. I bought a Honda, and that's one I've used for the last 5 or 6 or 7 years or 8 years. I don't know. But I've been wanting a riding lawnmower. My wife is like, look, you can get one, but you got to get rid of. I don't remember what she said, if it was lawnmowers or a lawnmower, but she's like, you know what you have to do if you want to get one. You got to get rid of one or 2. And so I was like, all right. So I finally did it. Buddy of mine, Matt, bought one of my mowers from me. And so I sold a lawnmower and then immediately bought another lawnmower. So now I'm back to 3.
Wait, you got the riding lawnmower?
I did get a riding lawnmower.
Oh, what'd you get?
John Deere, baby.
Yeah. Which model?
The E120.
That must be some
brand spanking new.
It's a year and a half old. It's not a big deal, but whatever.
How many hours does it have on it?
31.
Okay.
Welcome to the club.
When
I'm so excited.
I bought my mower. The guy on the ad said only, I don't know what it was, 80 hobs or something. I was like,
Hobbs?
What? And I didn't know what that was.
You misspelled hours?
No. That's what you call hours on an airplane or something.
Hours on.
Never heard of that. Well, the guy that I bought it from
Wait,
said,
am I saying that wrong?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure.
I've never heard of it. You have to be
Okay,
saying
maybe we got to run it by Josh's brother.
Yeah.
And whoever's
ask my pilot
listening
brother.
and you're a pilot, you're like,
Hobbs.
idiots. But I think it was something like that.
So the guy that I bought it from, when he posted it, he said it only has 31 miles on it. And I was like, this guy is going to be.
He drove
I'm
it.
like reeling in.
He
the
drove
big
it to
fish.
Decatur. Yeah, and came back.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I want to mow my lawn every day now. It's weird. I wish you guys had told me.
You can turn it around in your driveway.
Well, I spend my whole time just turning around.
I did tell you that probably on the podcast.
I only wanted to say that just to hear you say that. Okay. It's still the greatest decision ever.
Yeah, well, now you're going to want a zero turn next.
I do. I will say I should have bought a zero turn, but those things are like $3,000, so used. So that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, my yard's not huge, but look, I'm tired of chasing.
Is it a 42 inch?
It's a 40. You had to go 42, smallest one, because my yard's not huge. I'm only on a half acre.
Yep.
But it's great. You got a cup holder. It's fantastic. I'm excited.
I just looked up Hobbs. Okay, so it's Hobbs.
Yeah, I was right.
Like Calvin and Hobbs?
It's a Hobbs meter, and it's the meter that runs while an aircraft is being operated.
Very good.
There you go.
It's like engine hours.
Very
I told
good.
you.
So,
Hey,
cool.
pro tip on your John Deere mower. Maybe they fixed this because mine's like a super old one. If you don't turn the key all the way off,
Yep.
it will still keep counting the hours.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
No.
Because mine had like 30 something on it, and one of the kids like messed with the key because I'd left the key in there. I since have taken it out, but they left it in the, I don't know, something position, and it just kept counting the hours.
Well, so I was going to ask, I just left the key in there, but I
just make sure it's on stop.
I pulled into the shed, turned it off, and looked at the key, and I'm like, do I take the key with me? Because that key will get lost, and then what am I going to do? So
Yeah, I
just left it in
I
there.
started leaving mine in the tractor because I did remove mine, and then between seasons, there was a mad scramble for that key, but I found it.
Okay.
But I do keep it in the mower.
Listen to us talking about our mower keys. This is just
we are old sad men.
Never know what you're going to learn.
Yeah. All right. So I am about to build dual loft beds for my girls in their room. Okay. We're getting all kind of Pinteresty up in here. And my wife and I have been going back and forth on what in the world we're going to do. We've got limited space in the room. It is a bigger room, and it does have higher ceilings than some of our other rooms. So, but I wanted to take a minute because I've talked about SketchUp before. And I know you guys, Josh, you do SketchUp, yes?
I've done SketchUp, yes.
Okay. So to me, now, Josh, we had this conversation. You said that you've just been using graph paper.
Yeah, the built-in I'm working on, just graph paper because it's so simple. But now I'm kind of regretting it.
Does SketchUp, does it make things look pretty, or is it more of like a technical drawing?
Well, no, you
it's
can't.
program. It's in between.
Yeah, you can.
It's in between like AutoCAD and like Microsoft.
So yeah, I always use AutoCAD because that's just what I do for for work, and so I use that. So I didn't know if SketchUp was kind of like that.
It's pretty sophisticated, not AutoCAD's sophisticated.
AutoCAD's not. It's just you're just drawing lines. It's not.
If you got into SketchUp, you'd probably be frustrated just because it's not as technical or precise.
Right. Well, I feel like I've seen it, and it makes things look really like pretty.
You can.
You can. Yeah. Now, I use the free online version.
Gotcha.
So I don't pay anything for it. But if you want like all the stuff, you got to pay for it. But anyways, I love it. And so if anybody is starting a project, I highly recommend getting into SketchUp. Now, it's going to be extremely frustrating when you first start doing it. And I'll say that the biggest thing, Josh, maybe back me up on this, is learning how to move things.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you need to do the tutorials.
If you don't know how to move stuff, it is the most frustrating thing ever. And I finally spent the time, watched the YouTube videos and figured it out. And since I know how to move things, it's been way, way better.
I know how that goes though. You just want to get in there and you want to like start doing stuff, right? And make something happen. But then if you just take the time in the beginning, watch a video, figure out what you're doing. But it's a really good thing to do is to draw it out first, because you can run through a lot of bugs that you would run through while you're building it. You can flesh all that out and get it out of the way, right?
Oh, yeah. I already came across, because we were thinking that we were maybe going to do twin XL beds. Like, I don't know. Or like at least build them to accept that.
Got to. As a 6'5" individual.
I don't think his daughters are ever going to be.
Yeah, but listen, you always want, room to grow. You know what I'm saying?
But we're thinking that they're likely not going to be using these into their teenage years.
Don't say that, because I have great parents, but they had me in this twin bed.
But not a bunk.
No, it was a twin bed. Like a small twin bed, and I'm telling you, I was 6'5" in 8th grade. I'm sleeping on this twin bed. All right, so you never know.
Builds character.
It's only 5 inches longer. A regular twin size is 75 inches.
So it's a queen length, I think.
And XL is 80.
Okay.
So just random fact for you there.
Makes all the difference.
But anyway, so I'm going to be building that, and I'm still just kind of going through the process of figuring out what exactly I'm going to do. Now, if you have followed our blog or anything, even before the podcast days, you would have seen the loft bed that I built my son. But I'm kind of not doing that same thing, because I use like this piping.
That was nice.
More industrial.
Yeah, it's got the more industrial, manly look to it.
Looks
so I'm
good.
not going that route. But anyway, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. Josh, what you got?
Slow progress on the bookcase in the office. I posted a picture on the group of
doing built-ins, right?
Yeah, bookcase, built-ins. I don't know what you call it. It's anyway, the wall that's going on has CMU right behind it. So I'm having to put ledgers on there because I don't want everything on the carpet that's in the room.
Right.
Could cut the carpet out, but don't want to restretch it and all that stuff. So I'm just going to hover it over the carpet.
Yeah.
And then
that concrete block looked actually really good.
Yeah, it's in pretty good condition. There was some evidence of water at some time in there, but I think that's probably related to the back patio that we replaced. It's kind of musty when I opened the wall up, so I let it dry out, ran a fan. Seemed to dry out. I hit it with dry lock anyway, just halfway up the wall.
If you got a basement, you got water somewhere. It's inevitable.
Not yet. There was before we moved in, there was water pouring into the basement.
Yeah. What about the backside of the drywall that you took off? Was there any mold on that?
No.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure, okay, listeners that don't know, I kind of like halfway flipped Josh's house that he lives in now. They kind of bought it from us mid-flip. I know it's weird, but anyway, so
it sounds shady.
I did a lot of demo.
Both of us made tons of money.
Right. I did a lot of demo at that house, like a lot of demo, and I thought for sure that there was going to be just some mold issues or something behind.
I mean, I think that the main water issue was part of what I was seeing. That long ago water issue was anyway, got it all opened up. I've got it all planned out. I put some ledgers in. I'm dry fitting the cabinets in there. We bought some cabinets from Lowe's that we're going to paint, and then I'm going to build out shelves above those.
Okay.
And had a little fun win over the weekend because the section of drywall I took out was, floor to ceiling, 8 feet, and it was probably about 7 feet wide. Probably like 120 pounds of drywall, and I cut them as I brought it down. I cut them into nice panels that would fit straight into my trash can.
Right.
So I loaded up my trash can plus all of our household garbage to take out. I could barely get the thing up the driveway, and so this morning the garbage truck comes and I'm like peering out. Now they're going to take it. Luckily, in the past couple months, our guys have started using the robotic arm.
Yeah,
that comes in and clamps down. That thing had no trouble with it.
Yeah,
it just went right over the top. Didn't even know it was 200
I was
pounds
thinking
of
that the truck was just going to blow past there and be like, nah.
No, well, it wasn't. It was fully closed. Okay. I had it packed in there. It was just that can probably weighed just over 200 pounds, but that arm just threw it over like it was nothing.
Have you ever seen those guys though when they don't use the robotic arm and they just straight up manhandle that can and pull? And I'm like, dang man, don't walk up on that guy.
It's a hard job.
Yeah. Do you guys like ever just kind of daydream about just being a garbage man?
A little bit.
When I was 11, yeah.
No, I'm talking about just like today. Like, I'll see the guy just like hanging on the back of the truck,
but
and
you're doing that for hours.
That'd be kind of nice for a little while. I don't know,
like most jobs.
For a week, it'd be fun, and then you'd be like, "No, I'm not doing this anymore."
Yeah, I've always heard they made good money though.
I have no idea.
No, we should look into that.
Don't know.
Yeah. Maybe we could get a garbage man.
Our dudes are super friendly. My kids always wave, and they always wave back.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay, well, now you're all caught up on our current projects that we're doing. So let's get into do-it-yourself garage door repair. Now, today, I replaced torsion springs on my garage door.
What?
And you're not in an arm cast.
And I'm not in a cast. Yep. And my skull is not cracked open.
Yep.
And no hospital visits, and everything was just fine. And in fact, I got done in probably half the amount of time that I was thinking.
Nice.
You do it by yourself? That never happened. I don't ever get anything done like way quicker than I expect.
Well, I watched plenty of YouTube, and so I was fully prepared. Look, guys, this is a do-it-yourself job, I'm telling you.
You do need to take the proper precautions, though.
Oh, correct. No doubt. Okay, so let's get into this. So we're going to talk about torsion springs, and also Dave's going to talk about the garage door opener.
Explain torsion spring, the location of it, because even for me, I have never really taken apart a garage door opener or garage door system or anything like that. So I was reorienting myself.
Now, if you got an old school garage door that doesn't have an opener, you could just have old school regular springs that are not attached where these torsion springs are.
They run along the side.
Yeah. So I'm not talking about that. So I'm not getting into that. That's more of like an older style, usually without an opener. I don't know. Maybe you could have an opener.
But you can have openers on those.
Yeah, I think you can. Yeah. I think you can. But it sits on the bar that is, so if you're inside your garage, looking at your garage door, there's a bar that runs above the garage door, and the torsion springs are on that bar, okay? And it's wound up, and you use winding rods to put tension on the bar, and then the bar itself is then connected to a cable drums at the ends of this bar, and that is a steel cable that then connects to the bottom of your door.
And it's like an assist to help.
Exactly.
The garage door
Yeah.
open
And so
up.
the torsion springs will have different, wire thicknesses or gauges and lengths. And then that determines the amount of force that it exerts on the door. How many pounds it can lift is basically so.
Yep.
So did yours break?
It broke.
Because I'm thinking about, I've got the same thing, and I'm thinking about it in my mind. It literally looks like it was dragged off of the Titanic. I mean, it is so old and just jacked up that its days are numbered.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very common thing to happen.
And you've got a heavy door.
I do. My
Dave.
door
Yeah.
is big.
You got an 18-foot solid wood door, don't you?
It's a big door.
And you only have one torsion spring?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, let's get you switched over.
Okay, so that's a whole nother thing too. Okay, so I had one torsion spring. Now I have a 7-foot door, and it's just a single garage door. Okay, and it's a newer style, so it's not really that heavy. We're probably talking, I don't know.
No idea how much those things
Is it like an insulated door? The
It
metal
is.
door?
It is.
Yep.
It's probably no more than like 120 something pounds, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
That's
maybe
probably-
a little bit more.
yeah.
Anyways, I had a single torsion spring, and it was on the right side, left side, which is right wound. If it's on the left side, if it's on the right side, it's a left wound torsion spring. And also the color code. I don't know if this is universal or not, but I'm pretty sure that if it's painted red on the end of what's called the cone, then it's on the left side. If it's black, it's on the right side.
You watched a lot of YouTube videos.
So anyhow, so it broke. I had lowered the door and the spring broke. I heard this massive loud sound. So have you ever heard people talk about it? They're like, yeah, it sounded like a bomb going off or something. I thought one of the kids' bikes had like just fallen over onto the garage door or something. And I was in my car in the driveway and heard this.
Was
right?
the door going down?
It was going down.
Okay.
It was like almost, I think it broke right after it got done.
So does the door just drop?
No, I mean, it's not going to, I mean, it's still connected to the chain and
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe it would. I'm not really quite sure about
I'm just
that.
thinking about my door that's probably 25,000 pounds. And if that thing comes down, man, it's not going to be good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it would bust if it was all the way up or all the way down. Because, it's under tension
Yep.
all the time, basically. I always thought that when those broke, that it was going to be some catastrophic, like it's going to unwind and all this stuff, which technically it kind of does unwind. The tension comes off of it. But I thought that maybe it would somehow like explode.
You'd have like
Or
a
some-
mess on your hands.
Well, it looked like a slinky that a kid got a hold of.
Okay, so it didn't do that at all. And it didn't affect anything. It didn't shoot anything out. So if you're worried that like if I'm standing near this thing, is it going to just explode in my face? Or no, likely it's not going to do that.
in your experience, it's not.
In my experience,
You don't want your head right next to it when
Yeah.
it goes off.
Okay, so I posted on our Facebook group that I was like, you best believe I'm going to do this myself. I think I said I'm going to you can man this because that's actually a verb. If you guys didn't know.
True.
Right. And I got a lot of comments of people that are like, not worth it. Pay somebody to do it. You're gonna hurt yourself.
I didn't reply, but I would have said the same
My
thing.
neighbor broke his arm.
So I think it's with a lot of things. No, literally, my mother-in-law had a story of a guy that broke his arm when they lived in like Kansas City years ago, and he broke his arm doing this, right? And then I'm thinking, well, you know what? That's before they had YouTube.
There
You know,
It's a good point.
it has everything to do with it because I think if now we have such access to information that you can look all this up. There's so many videos on how to do your own torsion springs. And so that's exactly what I did. But I think torsion springs are one of those things that the garage door industry or something, I don't know what it is.
Well, there's some lore around it. There's
Yeah.
some mythology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I even had one of the guys.
Because you got stories.
Yeah, one of the guys posted a video of somebody showing this is what a torsion spring can do, and they had like a melon,
I saw that.
That they
I was
put
like,
up there?
Okay.
and then they just like let the winding bar loose, which is the thing. Okay, so sorry, I keep referencing that, so I should probably say what it is. A winding bar, all it is a 1/2 inch piece of steel rod that you stick in the hole to wind the torsion spring.
Yeah.
Right. And there's 2 holes in it. And then you alternate. You stick one in, move it a quarter turn. And then you while you're holding it in place, you then turn the other one. Right. And depending upon your spring, it'll tell you, and the size of your door, it'll say, do this many quarter turns.
Okay.
Right? I was pretty confident after I watched the YouTube video, but then I started second guessing myself. And I was like, shoot, should I be hiring somebody? I don't know. But then I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to do it. You guys, it did not take me much time at all today, and it was super easy.
Yeah, it looked like, I mean, I watched a video. I don't think it was linked in the chat. I think after the cantaloupe video, there was linked in the comments. I watched a video of literally like a 59-year-old woman up on a ladder, like winding one herself, like with supervision.
That was
like
a video of Tim, Josh.
Someone was walking her through like how to wind this. She was out of the way of it. So if it got out of control, she wasn't getting whacked in the face.
Yeah. So here's another thing too. You can take breaks as you're doing it, because at the top of the door, there's this like solid metal thing. And I would assume that it's there for resting the winding rod. So even when you get done and you've got that final quarter turn, well, you just rest it on the, I'm doing hand motions. I realize
it holds itself in place.
It holds itself in place, and then you have set screws, right? And then you just crank those set screws down. You go until you hit the bar, and then you do about half turn. Of course, I'm like, no, I got to do more than that. So of course I did more than that. You don't want to do too far, because then you could deform the rod itself. But anyhow, so you have to count it out 30 and a quarter 30 quarter turns, which is like 7.5 full turns, something like that. And it was perfect. Now, something I guess I had mentioned at the beginning, maybe not. I went from a single spring to a dual spring setup. So I had my single spring lifted about 95 pounds, and I found a conversion calculator from the company that I bought the springs from, and I plugged in mine, and they said, okay, get 2 of this kind of spring. So that's what I did. So the theory behind that is if you have a single spring, and it's better to go to a dual spring setup. Now, if you got a single spring and it's still working, don't do anything with it. It's fine. But if it breaks, then you should strongly consider going to a dual spring setup, because it shares the load. So it's you should have longevity, what did they call it? A cycle life of the springs themselves.
How do you know if you have a single spring or a dual spring?
Thank you, Dave. So if you just look up at the top of your garage door, there's going to be a center bracket. And if you only see a spring on one side or the other of that bracket, you only have a single spring.
Gotcha.
Right?
So that's a good point, because your door setup's not that old, right? Your whole system's not that old.
Well, and from what I'm reading, and I don't know if this is completely accurate or not, but I think it's just way easier for garage door installers to just use one spring, especially, I have a 7-foot high door. It's a single door. It probably didn't need.
It's the lightest door setup.
It didn't need two springs, but now hopefully I won't have to deal with it for a really long time. Another benefit to having the 2 springs is if it breaks, you're likely still going to be able to raise and lower the door if you need to get out. So it's like a safety kind of issue. I mean, your opener is going to be labored getting that door up, but you could still do it, or you could manually lift it.
That's a good point.
If you had two springs. So, anyways, that's my spiel on a torsion spring.
I'm intrigued now.
It's completely
Especially
doable.
about your door, Dave.
So, guys, now I've got the winding rods, which literally are only 1/2-inch steel rods. There's nothing special.
Once every 7 years.
Exactly. All right, so Dave, what have you got to tell us about garage door opener? Because I was actually really impressed when I heard that you changed the garage door opener.
You were. I think you tried to talk me out of. You didn't talk me out of doing it, but you were like, do you really want to do that? I was like, I'm going to do it.
Oh man, I'm so sorry I did.
Well, it was right after I bought the house that I'm in now. And, we'd signed the papers. 2 days later, of course, the garage door opener breaks. I don't remember exactly how it went out, but it just stopped working. We just bought a house, didn't have a ton of money. I was like, I'm not paying somebody to come over here and do this. I'm just going to do it. And I went to one of the big box stores.
You can say Home Depot.
I went to Home Depot and I bought,
hey, we're in a Lowe's desert. right where we live.
We are. I like to have.
There's not a close by.
So
Lowe's.
where I used to live, up north of here, so it was a Home Depot and a Lowe's right across the street from each other. It was great. Like if Home Depot didn't have something,
yeah.
I just roll over to Lowe's. Anyway, rolled into Home Depot over here, bought I think a Genie, and it came with fantastic instructions. So the key part of this is I had a garage door opener that was already installed. It was already wired. I think most people, well, I shouldn't say that.
And you had tracks.
I had tracks. A lot of people have garage door openers. So if you're replacing your garage door opener, in my opinion, I'm not a
good.
UCAN man expert. I'm not a pro do-it-yourself. I would say I'm average, high average, but it was relatively easy. Like I said, I already had a garage door opener. It was already wired, already had the tracks. So I just replaced it. It was probably a half day's worth of work. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Jeff, who helped me out with doing it. But follow the instructions. They were really clear instructions. Walked you through the whole setup process. And I think I bought so it's a belt-driven system, which was really easy to install. There's no chain. It's a lot quieter. So I would say if you're replacing your garage door opener, especially if you don't have to run the wiring, I don't know, maybe a medium difficulty task, but you can definitely do it.
How much quicker do you think you would be able to do it now that because, the first time you're doing something, you got a learning curve.
Well, you have a learning curve and you do things wrong the first time you have to redo them.
Right.
So like I installed these brackets incorrectly. I looked at it and I was like, dang it, like it's obviously wrong right when I put the last screw in, so I had to redo them. But I don't know, maybe I could cut 25% of the time off.
Yeah, because I think I could do those torsion springs in no time now.
So this was probably like a 4 to 6 hour job. You could definitely do it in 4 hours if you planned it out well.
One other thing too about my torsion springs, I'm glad that I just randomly own like 4 pairs of vice grips because I needed. Well, let's say I used 3 pair of vice grips because you clamp it onto the tracks so that just in case like the door starts to raise up once you have the tension on the door. Yeah, so it stops it if that's the case. Like if you wound it too much and then it just starts kind of coming up on its own, so that stops it. But then I had to use another set of vice grips to keep tension on the steel cable while I worked on the other side.
Yeah,
so you do need a few pair of vice grips.
Well, for me, what I was worried about when I installed the opener was I was worried about getting it calibrated correctly so that the door closed and didn't want to close more or like opened, didn't want to open too far. And that part was, I worried about it. There was no need to worry about it. It was the setup instructions. They were fantastic in that regard. And it almost set itself. Like, I don't know if the technology has improved to the point now where it's kind of idiot proof, but really setting that stuff up was pretty easy. Okay. So you can, man.
Josh, you got anything to add? You haven't really done a whole lot with garage doors now.
Had new garage doors installed by a group member when we first moved in.
Yes, and it's funny because I think his wife had posted or commented when I said that, and then I remembered and I said, you know what? If I can't hack this job, I'm going to call Josh is his name too. So
I'm going to need to call Josh because my door it's about to bite the dust, and I'm not.
Your door scares me.
It's
so
a
heavy.
huge door. I'm not going to do that one myself, so I'm going to have to get a pro out there for that.
Yeah, and just to have somebody haul it off is pretty huge too.
Yeah,
because Josh's was the same way. Yeah. He had an old wooden door, and Josh, the garage door Josh that we're mentioning,
garage door Josh.
He took it all apart and hauled it away. So that was really, really nice. But Josh, do you have any questions for Dave and I, the garage door experts over here?
Yeah, no? I think we're good. I've got one weird quirk that did just pop in my head. My garage door, I usually cut the grass in the late evening when the sun is setting, like get done about that time. The sun shoots right in to the side of my garage door and goes into the laser sight that tells you if a kid's running underneath it. Yeah, it'll trigger. The sun shines straight in there, so like the lasers can't see each other, and so my garage door won't shut. I have to hit the button and then run over and make a shadow on that laser. It's very annoying. It's just like a weird quirk.
So is that not like a mirror system? Or
I need to build like a hood, like its own little roof for that one laser.
That is like the pinnacle of like first world domestic problems.
I have to hit my garage door, run over, and put a shadow on my laser.
Never would have thought about that.
I mean, I don't know how you deal with it, Josh. I really don't.
Someone's got to.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we've got some Facebook group shout outs for our bonus segment. We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by 1776 United. 1776 United is a patriotic and historically inspired lifestyle brand. They make the best patriotic shirts and apparel on the market today. I personally own many of their products, and if you want to don patriotic gear without looking gaudy, check them out on Instagram, Facebook, and at 1776united.com.
All right, guys, welcome back on this week's bonus segment. We're going to be doing some Facebook group shout outs. If you've been a longtime listener and are still not a member of our Facebook group, please do that. I know that some people just don't want to get on Facebook, but I'm telling you, it's worth it just to be on our Facebook group. There's so much activity. Hopefully, by the time you're hearing this, we will have exceeded 700 members, which is crazy.
It's a resource, man. Like, there's a lot of people on there that know what they're doing.
I've learned a ton.
Yep.
Just being a part of the group, for sure.
So we wanted to take just a few minutes and give some shout outs to some folks that have been posting recently. So I'll go first. We had a friend of mine, Catherine. Actually, she's friends with all of us. We go to church with her. And I love it. She does tons of DIY stuff herself. That's not traditionally what you'd think of like women taking apart a washing machine, but that's exactly what she did. And clean it. It was like, got all nasty. And I didn't even know that was a thing. But
I think she was using some like homemade detergent.
Okay.
That doesn't have,
like
other people know way
enzymes in
more.
it?
Yeah. Enzymes that normally break down and kind of self-clean after you clean your laundry. The homemade remedies, I guess, can gunk up. Certain ones can at least gunk up your works.
Yeah, but so she posted all these pictures that she just
dismantled.
Yes, she completely took that thing apart, and it looked awesome when she cleaned it all up. So, and I guess she was, it stunk really bad. So she was that's why she had to do it. Yeah, so I thought that was really impressive. Josh, what you got?
All right, I picked out Jim on our Facebook group. Jim and his sister, Callie, cut down what he says was a 40-foot tree. It looks sizable in the pictures, and they have a little funny story about cutting down a tree. But the funny part is they used a 14-inch electric Harbor Freight chainsaw.
Harbor Freight.
Nice. I've got an electric chainsaw, and every time I use it, I'm so embarrassed. I hope nobody sees me using it. Yeah, it's just... It doesn't work well. Jim, I feel you, man. But good for you on getting it done.
They did it. Didn't crush their house. So, congrats. That was impressive.
I love that it's from Harbor Freight and it's an electric chainsaw.
It's disposable. So you use it once and you throw it away.
I mean, it's probably for as cheap as it is. You probably could. But he said it worked great. Did he not?
Yeah, it was a big tree. And, I mean, he has the chainsaw sitting on the tree. So by my estimation... The tree is approximately 28 to 30 inch diameter.
I'm looking at the picture. That's a big tree.
Yeah, it's not small. So,
did he say if it dropped right where he wanted it to?
I don't think he got into that.
I'm always impressed. I'm not going to cut trees down in my yard because I get houses all over the place. But I think Josh, your dad's pretty good at dropping a tree like right where he wants to. Right.
In my growing up, my dad dropped a pine tree when we were growing up that could have been 100 feet tall. I'm not exaggerating. Like a massive pine tree that was in the very corner.
He knew exactly how tall it was.
He dismantled one section.
He took the fence
one
apart,
section
right?
of chain link. So like he gave himself like a little 10-foot berth, 20-foot berth, and the neighbor guy had like tree climbing equipment. Climbed to the top. They attached a rope so they could kind of direct it. They had to come along, and those two guys felled that tree.
Nice.
Right on the property line.
That is a really good feeling when you're like, I want to drop this tree right here. And then you do it.
Yeah.
I love that.
It can go south really quickly.
Oh,
I've got a brother in Kentucky that also posted a tree video.
Yeah.
It was a dead tree. And his buddy, Reese, who actually just became a medical doctor, and is a power lifter, like randomly, like Dr. Johnson last week. Anyway, he just like muscled the tree over, like with his body weight.
Nice.
Big pine tree. Even though it was dead, you could tell it was like still standing, but he muscled it down. I think my brother Jeremy helped him as well. But anyway.
So my dad and I dropped a tree one time in the front yard of their house, and I'm not going to say who was saying it's not going to work. I'm not going to go there, but when it was cut down, it fell toward the house, obviously, and just skimmed like the front of the house, the whole like the whole way down, and just dragged down.
Didn't lose any
front of the
shutters
house.
or anything.
It did. Like it was painful to watch, and it didn't sound good. But I don't think anything fell off the house.
Nice.
Okay. All right, Dave, who's your shout out?
Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to Mike. Did you guys see him? So he had a refrigerator that was mismatched, right? So it didn't match the other appliances in the kitchen. I imagine, I didn't see a picture of it, but I imagine, it's an eyesore, but whatever. So he takes it out, repaints it, paints it black, but like a pro used the chalkboard paint. Right. So he has a toddler, I guess. And so now the kid can, draw all over the refrigerator. And I saw that. I was like, it's genius. I got to do that.
Pretty good.
I don't have a white fridge, but, I probably should just paint it.
Well, his other appliances were black, and the fridge was white. And so they always wanted to match the other stuff. And so he painted it black.
And yeah, I think he said it didn't look nearly as tacky as he thought it would, which, I mean, you can imagine if you're painting something on your own, it may not look great, but I saw the pictures look good.
Yeah. All right, we haven't been using last names, but I'm going to use this guy's last name because he has his own topic on. I think it's only appropriate, right?
Yeah, sure.
So Brad Woodall, he just completed his deck project he's been working on for, I think, like a month and a half.
Yeah, look, I'm going to need Brad to pump the brakes because he's making me look bad. I mean, I'm looking at these projects and I'm like, dude, that's legit.
Yeah. Brad got after it for 6 weeks.
Brad, have your wife listen to this, and we just want to give a special shout out to her and just say,
Does she know what she's got?
Do you know what you've got? Okay. You basically got a live-in contractor who can
who works on his own house, which is rare for contractors.
Yes. This cobbler's kids have shoes for sure. And a nice, really, really nice deck. Anyway, so Brad has been throughout the process doing all of these really helpful videos. If you are attempting a deck project, and this thing's high. I mean, it's high off the ground.
Second story,
Yep.
And he just did an amazing job in his screened-in porch. Anyways, we have been tagging all of his posts with his name. And so if you go on the Facebook group page, you can actually see all of his posts by clicking on he has his own topic. So just go over. I don't know if I couldn't get it to show up on the mobile view. So if you're looking at it,
I can.
Yeah.
It depends. I don't know what. I think Facebook is actually in a process of revamping their look right now. So things are weird, but I was able to pull it up.
Okay. Well, if not on a desktop or whatever, it's really easy.
Topics are on the right hand side on the desktop, or on my mobile. It's like near the top when you first.
Okay. So just click on Brad Woodall and you'll see all of his awesome videos he's done. Okay, Josh, last shout out. What you got?
Last shout out for Brandon. He struggled, it sounds like, with some home Wi-Fi, like smart lighting and stuff like that for his kitchen. Finally got it working, which is really good. And I like this topic because I think we're going to do a show on it at some point. I'm interested in some exterior cameras, not for security, kind of security, but really just like a couple to monitor my boys when they're out in the yard. So that like my wife can pull up the iPad and like see where the kids are without having to go to the windows every time. Because they like to roam out on a couple sides of the house. Anyway, something that's secure but looks outward from the house. Yeah, I'm interested.
So Brandon, he had a very particular wiring thing. I don't know, was it like a 3-way switch or something like that? It was giving him fits?
Something like that.
Exactly.
He said the instructions that came with it didn't really cover his situation.
Right. Yeah. But he figured it out. Yep. You can man that and definitely figured it out.
He debugged it.
Yeah. And I think he had some suggestions on if he were to do it again, he would not get whatever brand it was. Yeah. I think he used like Lumitron or something, which is supposed to be like top notch.
Levitron.
Levitron. Yeah. Sorry. But he was going to go a different route next time. So these are the sorts of things that you guys can go on this Facebook page, and there's all kinds of actual helpful information, right? Yes. And, and a lot of it is just people posting their projects that they've done. And it's a forum to say, good job. Yeah. Like just showing encouragement. I had a comment from somebody that said, men don't normally do this a lot.
Like
of
encouraging
each other. And I said, actually, that's one of our, I don't know what I said, but
it's a core tenet.
No, that's what we're all about.
It's one of our hallmarks.
It's a call to arms, and we're encouraging guys to get out there and do things yourself because you can do it, make it happen.
Exactly. So even if you want to just make a post about some project that you did, we're gonna say good job and ask you questions about it. And I think that's really important. So anyhow, I think that's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks so much for tuning in once again to the You Can Man podcast, man. Episode 60, guys. This is crazy.
Hey-o. Another milestone.
Yeah,
Keep
for
going.
sure. For sure. All right. Take some time to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we will catch you guys next time.